Good morning and welcome to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuksa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. It looks like my camera's off a teeny bit today. I apologize. So I love it when you guys bring questions to me. We try to talk about a couple times a week things that have to do with real estate, buying real estate, selling real estate, the title to that real estate, mortgage issues, all types of things that have to do with real estate and closing and mortgages. I own a title company. I have been doing the title part of the business for a very long time. And so I have lots of experiences, questions, things we've dealt with. And so I love it when you guys ask questions because it gives me the opportunity to help other people with the answers to those questions. So today, I had a question last night from a friend who has a father who is in some financial trouble, and he has several lots that don't have any homes on them, but they want to move the lots out of his name into her name to make sure that they don't have any problem with those lots when and if his financial situation comes to some type of fruition. So I love it when questions come to me, and this is a great question about title and ownership and what to do about it. So first of all, let me move this. I'm doing a little bit different look today, and I'm trying to adjust it, so bear with me for a second. So when we're talking about title to real estate, we have to understand that it's a lot different than the title to a vehicle or the title to a motorhome or the title to a trailer. Because the title to a trailer is an actual document that one person signs and hands it to another person, and then the other person owns it. When you're talking about the title to a property, you're talking about the chain of ownership. So everyone who's owned that property and anyone who's had any interest in that property, including mortgages or liens or any of those types of things, that chain of ownership or interaction on that property is called the title. The actual ownership of that property is a deed. And a deed is a document that is the only thing that can transfer ownership to property. And a deed can be signed and executed only by the people that are currently in ownership on that piece of property. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. I have to say hi to a couple people that are out there and watching. Hey, Daniel, how are you today? This is one of my great supporters from Virginia Beach, and I love working with Daniel. He's a great realtor, and certainly, definitely someone you'd want to work with if you're working in that area. Hey there, Chip. How are you? Welcome from Florida. Hopefully you guys are warm and sunny because it's a little chilly here. Hey, Mike Ryan. How are you this morning? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. So the title to a piece of property is, as I said, the chain, but what transfers the ownership of a piece of property from one person to another is a deed. So a deed has to be prepared and has to be signed by the person or persons who are actually in ownership right now. So in this particular case, she wants to have us transfer the ownership from her dad into her. Very simple process. We can prepare a deed. We have to have a copy of the current deed so we know who is actually in title and how it's listed there. And then what we would do is prepare a deed from him, or if there's other people in the ownership, maybe she owns it with him. And so both of them would have to sign off as the people selling or transferring that ownership, and then who we're going to be transferring it to. So an exact name of who those people are going to be. And the other thing that you need to know is whoever is in the current ownership right now, all of those people must sign off on that deed, or someone must have to sign on their behalf. So that's when we start talking about, let's say one of the people that is in the current ownership can't actually sign off on the document. Well, why? Is it because they're just out of the area, so we need to have a power of attorney done? Is it because they are no longer with us, and now we need to talk about estate issues, and every state addresses this differently, but you're talking about an estate that now owns the property and not the person. If you're talking about someone who's a minor who can't execute or sign off on an ownership, then we have to talk about what we have to do with that, because someone under 18 cannot sign on their own behalf if they're in ownership. So a lot of different things to be looking at there if we're transferring. But if it's as simple as I think this request was, transfer from a father to his daughter, the only thing that we have to do is, as I said, I would require something in writing telling me exactly what you want to do. And then I'd need a copy of the current deed, which in most cases we can actually get a copy of that from the land records in the courthouse of the jurisdiction where the property is located, and I'd review that deed to make sure we have all the people signing off on it. Then we would have everybody come in and sign off on that deed. Only the people that are in the current ownership have to sign it, and then we would record it in the land records to make it public record that everyone in the world who would search that ownership of that property would now understand that she is the owner of that property. And the only other thing that you want to think about is if you're going to take ownership with more than one person, you have to understand what those different ownership levels are. And that's something we're going to spend a lot of time talking about next month, about different ownership ways to own property with different people. So whether it's a spouse, whether it's a brother or sister, whether it's a girlfriend or a boyfriend, whether it's just a really good friend that you want to buy a piece of property with, or whether it's your children. If you're buying a piece of property with your children and you want to make sure that that ownership is the way that you expected if something was to happen to you. But for this particular case, all we would have to do is pull a copy of that current deed, have something from you saying this is what you want us to do, and of course then the cost of recording and the preparation. We would record it in the land records and then mail you the original, and boom, it's all taken care of. So it's a pretty simple process, and we can take care of that right for you for any properties in Maryland or Virginia at Foote Title Group. You can reach out to any of our team members. All of their emails are on our website, www.footetitlegroup.com. And there's also a lot of information on the buyer and the seller and the realtor lender tab about this kind of information. So if you go on to the resources page on any of those pages, it'll tell you about all types of things with respect to the ownership. Hopefully I answered some questions for you guys today. I love it when people ask me questions. So if there's something you don't understand or you don't know, and even if you're not sure if I'm the right person to ask, let's get the conversation started. And then if I'm not, I'll find somebody to help us out. So thank you so much for tuning in. Hey there, Helen, how are you this morning? Hi, Miss Carla, how are you today? Thank you guys for taking the time to tune in. If you found what we talked about valuable, please, please, please hit that share button, because there's probably somebody else out there that has a similar question and would love this information. Hope you guys have a fantastic day. Thanks for tuning in to Coffee with Connie. I'm Connie Fuksa with Foote Title Group, where we protect your home ownership. Talk to you soon, guys.